Hello, everyone. I'm Natalia Bilbao, and here's what's happening in LA this week. Senator Melissa Melendez of the 28th District, together with the Drug Enforcement Administration, is sounding the alarm on counterfeit drugs. They recently held a press conference to raise awareness about the increase in fentanyl-related overdoses.
Last year, my constituents Matt and Christine Capilouto reached out to me to discuss the death of their daughter, Alexandria, who in 2019 passed away after consuming 5 times the fatal amount of illicit fentanyl. We have to join forces in finding a way to hold drug dealers accountable.
In 2020, my department saw a 70% increase in fentanyl-related deaths over the prior year. On average, last year, there were nearly 3 fentanyl-related deaths every single day in Los Angeles County.
Alexander is 14 years old. He came to his father and myself and told us that he had been experimenting with these pills and they were causing him a problem and he needed help. When he brought up the pills, we thought they were legitimate prescription, like back in the old day, like we were taught that these are prescription pills that were stolen from somebody's grandma's medicine cabinet or whatever, but that's just not the case anymore.
The counterfeit nature of these pills is a major contributing factor to the deaths of young people in our community. They appear to be pharmaceutical drugs like Xanax, oxycodone, and Percocet, but they are not. They don't contain any of the pharmaceutical ingredients and instead contain clandestinely manufactured fentanyl.
Bueno, el problema es que el fentanilo es una potente opioide sintética que es como la heroína, pero 50 veces más potente. El problema es que muchas de las muertes de sobredosis es a causa del fentanilo. 49% de las muertes de sobredosis en el condado de Los Ángeles se debe a fentanilo.
There's a lot of depression going on. People are self-medicating. They're not knowing what they're taking. And sadly, a result of it is death.
Tristemente, la estadística es que de 3 de 4 muchachos que fallecen por envenenamiento por fentanilo son encontrados por sus padres en sus camas por la mañana. Y desafortunadamente, mi hijo de 16 años de edad es una de esas estadísticas, perdóname.
I think the biggest thing parents need to know is that it can happen to your family. That one pill can kill.
The LA Conservation Corps and Seattle-based company Pallet Shelter have partnered to build 425 shelters across Los Angeles for unhoused people. Councilmember Paul Krikorian stopped by one such community in his district, the Alexandria Tiny Home Village.
You're here at the Alexandria Tiny Home Village. And as you can see, there's been tremendous progress made in a very short amount of time.
Son 425 casas que se van a construir el día de ahora. Este trabajo se tomará 2 semanas para completar.
So my husband and I started this company about 4.5 years ago now. My husband came up with the idea for the shelters some time ago, and we took it to our staff and said, would this have been helpful when you were experiencing homelessness? Is this something you would have utilized? And they said, absolutely, we love the idea, we absolutely should do this. And here we are. Last year we set up almost 2,000 shelter beds across the country.
They include air conditioning and heating, 4 windows for fresh air ventilation. They include storage space, 2 beds, so that once we're past COVID, we can actually house 2 people in each one of these. And it's also very helpful when there's a family situation, people that don't want to be separated.
The most important thing is a locking door. They have a locking door. So for someone who's experiencing homelessness and has been housing insecure for a long time, having a locking door and being able to sleep safely at night and not be concerned about someone coming in on you, or to leave your things during the day so you can engage with services or go get a job, this is really critical.
These are inexpensive to purchase and to assemble. All of our tiny home villages are financed entirely with city funds.
Really excited. Today we're announcing the partnership, a contract partnership with the LA Conservation Corps
which provides job opportunities and training for marginalized youth here in the area. So this is a great opportunity for us to provide construction trade training and jobs to people here in your community.
Violence against the Asian Pacific Islander community is on the rise. Recently, a rally was held at Los Angeles State Historic Park to increase awareness of the problem.
Are you ready?
Yeah. We're here today, all of us together, just to fight hate.
Obviously, there's been a lot of recent attacks on Asian people in general all over the country, and it's very disheartening and very sad. Seeing them go viral on social media.
It makes me feel really sad. It's heartbreaking because, you know, I was out there supporting a lot of like the Black Lives Matters movement, and so for this I felt like being my heritage, being Asian, I have to be here.
But the cause is to say that it has to stop, that we have to be treated equally. We're just like everybody else. We're human beings. We have a heart, we have emotion.
The Asian community has been pretty silent for a long time and not really speaking up when they're attacked or there's kind of racism present. And I think that's what we're trying to do now.
As a culture, I think Asians are we're very modest and quiet and meek. And I think this is going to help us be able to stand taller or stand with a straighter back and be able to speak up on what's going on.
And we need to end the xenophobia in our community because it's only going to get worse if we don't speak up.
Obviously, with Donald Trump saying a lot of things like the China virus or Kung flu, obviously that rhetoric is spread, which is unfortunate. And seeing the new administration send out videos that say like Happy Lunar New Year and things like that, it helps a lot to make people feel more at ease. Little acts like that can help a lot.
It's a good start, but we have a lot of work to do to repair our nation and the Asian identity.
It really does heal people when you spread a little bit more love around.
To report hate crimes, contact your local law enforcement agency. And for additional information, visit oag.ca.gov/hatecrimes. Over in Council District 1, Team Cedillo is on the job going the extra mile to get meals and PPE to their senior residents. Take a look.
So our office is partnered up with the property management at Grand Plaza to provide meals to the seniors that are living in this facility. And part of the partnership, we actually provided masks.
So it's in an affordable apartment building. It's for 62 years of age and older. It's independent living, but we try to make sure that we always let the seniors know that as a property management, we care about them. We're thinking about them. We're always having them in our thoughts, especially during these trying times.
El edificio consiste de 302 unidades que le da housing a nuestros residentes que son de 72 años de edad para arriba. Hoy estamos celebrando con ellos por parte del management company que es Richmond Property Services y le estamos dando comida a nuestros residentes.
Since the pandemic started, we've always tried to give meals, hot meals, either lunches or breakfast. We try to keep the coffees if they need it. And we also offered them supplies like canned food and things like that.
Durante la pandemia, muchos de los seniors no han podido salir a las calles por no querer agarrar el virus que tenemos, y un regalito así como este los hace reír, los hace sonreír y sentirse que aún están aquí, ¿no? Desafortunadamente ahorita eso es lo que estamos viendo en las comunidades, que la gente su moral está bajando, ¿no? Por no poder salir como antes.
Mayor Eric Garcetti announces the launch of MOVE, the Mobile Outreach for Vaccine Equity Program. The program was conceived in an effort to scale up vaccinations in some of the most vulnerable parts of Los Angeles.
These mobile sites work. Today's an example of the new trend and what we recognize as the most effective way to get the vaccine out to the people of America. And that is to rely on the local clinics, on the local unions, the local churches, and your local elected official. The housekeeper, the janitor, the landscaper, the person working at the local store, that person is safe and therefore their consumer is also safe.
Our members who are security officers, airport workers, janitors, providing essential services in all facets of industry in this state have been suffering.
Porque así como estamos viviendo, se siente uno emocional o psicológicamente muy mal, anda con temor. Y así pues ya uno tiene la esperanza que esto ya va a pasar, si ya todos nos vacunamos.
We've seen the statistics. Those who have a good internet connection, who get that email from a friend, are finding their ways to the big sites. But for a lot of people, they don't have transportation. A lot of people don't have access. A lot of people don't have an internet connection. And so working with SEIU here, you see the federal, state, and local government coming together to have these mobile teams that are working. The city of Los Angeles has now 5 of these. The federal government has 2. They're going to add a 3rd one next week, and we're going to add 5 more. So we'll have 13 of these teams that are out there in the community where people can most access them.
This is what the future should look like when we turn out to help our community.
Mayor Garcetti is leading the charge for many city officials who are on a mission to get information and vaccinations to underrepresented communities across Los Angeles. First up, Councilmember Mark Ridley Thomas and Care Clinic bring COVID-19 vaccinations to District 10. Next, in the community of Lincoln Heights, CAC Medicine of USC hosts a vaccination event at Nora's Healthcare Center.
Well, we're delighted to be here at the Holman United Methodist Church. We're here with one of the premier health clinics, namely CARE, and we are saying to all 10th District constituents, not only do you need to mask up, maintain social distancing, disinfect with regularity, but you have to get your vaccination.
Care Clinic is a federally qualified health center located in Council District 10, primarily in Koreatown area. We serve a very diverse patient base. We're the only health clinic in the United States that's able to provide all services in 5 languages: English, Spanish, Korean, Bengali, and Thai.
Es difícil más que nada para los pulmones. Sí me afectó a mí durante 2 meses más las consecuencias y pues sí quería ponérmela.
I'm happy this day finally came, because I've been wanting to get one for a while, but because of the shortage that they had before, I didn't know how soon I'd be able to get it. So when I found out I was able to get it today, I was very, very, very excited about it.
It didn't hurt at all. The whole process has been easy. And I know that there's still ways to go, but this is a start, a welcome start.
My message is be safe, be smart, be proactive. Take advantage of these resources. They are critically important. The life you save may be your own.
So today we are providing a special day for our community partners and vaccinating our Latino and Black communities that really are right in our backyard. It's very important to CAC Medicine of USC because they are a very underserved population. They are probably the population that needs it the most but have the least access to this important vaccine.
Lo que está sucediendo ahora es que tenemos la oportunidad de vacunar a muchos miembros de la comunidad y también empleados y pacientes contra la vacuna del COVID-19. Es muy importante que sepan de este tipo de programas porque hemos escuchado de la comunidad que han tenido dificultad en registrarse.
Yo sé que yo estoy segura, sé en la ciencia que tienen aquí, sé que es algo que debemos de vacunarnos todos y estoy tranquila.
Lo único que estamos viendo es que sean mayores de 65 años. No hay ningún costo, todo es gratis. De allí la información adicional no la pedimos.
We are just so thankful and appreciative that we have this opportunity to be able to provide vaccines where it's needed the most. This is ongoing. We want to continue to vaccinate as many people as we can, as quickly as we can. We know how important that is to get our world and our community to a safer place.
City Attorney Mike Feuer targets pandemic patient dumping. Streets LA modifies street sweeping operations, and Accessing LA Build With goes virtual for 2021. These stories and more up next on City Beat.
LA City Attorney Mike Feuer has announced a sweeping settlement with Lakeview Terrace Nursing Home. The settlement would resolve allegations of patient dumping during the pandemic, abuse, denial of care, and efforts to conceal this conduct.
We have to protect our residents in skilled nursing facilities. Nursing home patients need us. They're particularly vulnerable.
The settlement mandates changes to amend alleged unlawful discharge protocols. City Attorney Feuer previously sued and settled with the same facility, alleging the improper discharge of homeless and mentally impaired residents. The Bureau of Street Services has announced that modifications in the street sweeping schedule will be implemented starting March 1st. Due to staff shortages as a result of the financial crisis of the COVID-19 pandemic, LA City residents should expect a reduction in the frequency of street sweeping. Routes that had received weekly sweeping will now be swept bi-weekly. Residents are encouraged to pay close attention to posted street signs to stay abreast of when sweeping is planned for your street, so you can plan accordingly. To sign up to be notified when your street will be swept, visit streetsla.lacity.org/sweeping. The Board of Public Works and Bureau of Contract Administration held the 5th annual Accessing LA Build With virtual event, an online session held as part of the African American History Month celebration. The two-part virtual event featured an informational webinar and limited pre-assigned matchmaking opportunities for prime contractors and subcontractors. Accessing LA Build With was conceived as a means to give diverse construction-related businesses insight on projects and resources throughout the city of Los Angeles. For more information on Accessing LA, visit bca.lacity.org/accessingla. When preparing your taxes this year, the LA County Department of Consumer and Business Affairs wants you to look out for these common tax season scams. Watch out for phishing emails or websites looking to steal your personal information. Beware of phone calls from criminals impersonating IRS agents and threatening you with arrest or deportation. Beware of any person or business that promises inflated or instant tax refunds. If you believe you are a victim of income tax fraud, contact the Department of Consumer and Business Affairs at 1-800-593-8222.
The Department of City Planning is conducting a wildlife pilot study to examine foliage and fauna within Los Angeles and how they coexist with their human neighbors. Check this out.
An urban ecologist is super important in a place like Los Angeles because I get to help the city of Los Angeles understand how to create a really nice, livable city that is great for plants and animals, but is also great for us as humans to be living into.
The Wildlife Pilot Study is one of many of the city's sustainability initiatives underway. This pilot study is looking particularly at the city's most sensitive ecological areas, and those are found in the hillsides.
Oftentimes we look past a lot of developed areas and be preserving kind of the natural habitat out on the periphery of these spaces. But really to make those spaces out in these national parks or national forests healthy and the spaces in urban areas healthy, it's really, really important for us to be connecting those ecosystems together.
The outcome of this wildlife study is to produce a set of land use regulations for how we allow development to occur in a more balanced way with nature.
Los Angeles is a great place to be doing so because we are located in one of 36 global biodiversity hotspots across the entire world, which means we have an immense amount of plant and animal life here, but it also means that we need to very mindfully manage that plant and animal life to make sure that our development in a city like Los Angeles is not necessarily impeding those things from also coexisting with us.
We would like Angelinos to understand the importance of the wildlife study for the bigger picture of this more holistic approach to land use. So just a reminder that this area that represents the city of Los Angeles is not just an urban environment, but that, as Kat mentioned before, is really a rich environment that has a lot of natural resources. And one of our most important natural resources are found in our hillsides.
LA artists have been prolific in honoring the essential workers of the COVID-19 pandemic. And thanks to the Consulate General of Mexico, there is now a collection of colorful murals that stands in commemoration of the city's gratitude.
Welcome everybody. Here at the Mexican Consulate in Los Angeles, we are thrilled to have this event.
Finally, we accomplished a mission that we started last year to recognize the essential workers.
One of the things that are crucial is that they receive the acknowledgement they deserve for the hard working they are doing.
Bravo! Bravo! Yeah.
Desafortunadamente, como nuestros trabajadores son en muchos casos los que se encuentran en primeras líneas para atender y mantener a nuestras comunidades funcionando, han sido golpeados de manera desproporcionada.
The work of art was meant to reflect a real sense of gratitude for the workers in our community that have really made surviving in this pandemic possible.
This is dedicated to all the essential workers that are making this world turn, from farm workers to grocery store clerks to delivery drivers and everybody in between.
We are deeply, deeply grateful for the work they have done.
We're thinking of them and grateful for them every day.
It's an honor and a privilege to be able to do something like this that reaches so many people on such a personal level.
Our friends at LA Animal Services zoom by with some important knowledge about Spay Neuter Month for 2021. Take a look.
Spay Neuter Month is February. There's many benefits to having your cat or dog spayed or neutered. Preventing unwanted litters is definitely a big benefit, but also spayed or neutered animals are also much less likely to want to get out and roam the neighborhood, which means a lot less likely chance of them getting lost or getting into fights or especially getting hit by a car. There are some health benefits to spaying and neutering. For males, if you neuter them, you're going to take away their testicles, so you get rid of the risk of testicular cancer. And in dogs, you also reduce the risk of having prostate issues. For females, if you spay them, you're going to take away the risk of a pyometra, which is an infection of the uterus, which can be fatal or at the very least very expensive to treat. In the city of Los Angeles, there is a mandatory spay-neuter ordinance that states that cats and dogs, with a few exceptions, have to have the surgery by 4 months of age. We have certificates for free spay-neuters for income-qualified city residents, and that certificate will pay for the entire cost of the spay or neuter at participating veterinary hospitals, spay-neuter clinics, and mobile spay-neuter vans. And then we also have a $30 discount coupon that's available to any city resident that will be $30 off the cost of the surgery at a participating veterinary hospital as well. You just have to go to laspayneuter.com.
For our feature story this week, we spotlight the oldest sustaining Episcopal congregation in Los Angeles, the Church of the Epiphany. Recently, this LA landmark secured a place on the National Registry of Historical Places. Councilmember Gil Cedillo sits down with Channel 35 to discuss the church's role in the Chicano moratorium and its significance to the City of Angels.
The church has a long and rich history in the city. If we are to be a just city, if we are to be a city of angels, then we must know our history. We must learn from our history.
This part of the church right here was built in 1887. And this is the original church. It's now what we call our parish hall.
The Church of Epiphany was a kind of headquarters, an informal headquarters in many respects for the Chicano movement. The Chicano Moratorium, the largest march at that time, Mexican Americans in the history of this nation, was planned there.
I became involved in the Chicano movement in the mid-60s. Epiphany was a very strong part of the moratorium and the whole movement against the war because we were dying at the highest rate. That history needs to be known.
We were against discrimination. We were against the war in Vietnam. We wanted fairness and equity for Mexican Americans in the society.
Cuando negamos esta vida, la vida divina que está en cada persona, ¿okay? Negamos también la vida divina en nosotros. Estas son las enseñanzas de Cristo y estas son las enseñanzas que seguimos.
Plans for empowerment, for liberation, for progress would emerge from the environment of the church. And so now for us to give historical designation to the Church of Epiphany, it's really significant.
Only 8% of all of the national landmarks in the country have to do with our history, with the history of people of color in the United States. And so this is a very important addition to the National Historic Site.
Enjoy free virtual community classes for kids with Rampart PAL. LA Public Library offers help with job interview prep, or check out the LA Harbor International Film Fest. All this up next on Virtual Things to Do.
Spring will soon be rolling in, and with it comes free virtual community classes for kids. Join the Rampart Police Activities League for online activities for kids ages 7 to 17. You can choose from virtual classes in martial arts, environmental justice, or beginner chess. Classes begin March 8th, so don't wait. Sign up for 7 weeks of fun with the Rampart Police Activities League. To register, visit rampartpal.org. PACE, the Pacific Asian Employment Consortium, and the LA Public Library want you to make a great first impression on your next job interview. On Thursday, March 11th at 11 a.m., you are invited to Job Interview Success, a virtual workshop aimed to help you better prepare before the interview, best strategies during the interview, and a few things you can do to boost your chance of getting a call back. Remember, your resume gets you in the door, but your interview will get you hired. So if you're ready for some useful tips on passing that next job interview, sign up for this free workshop at lapl.org/events. The LA Harbor Film Festival is back and celebrating its 18th year with a virtual online presentation. March 11th through the 14th, LA Harbor Film Festival will stream their competitive and diverse selections of narrative films and documentaries from new and familiar storytellers. This year's virtual festival is dedicated to the late council member Tom LaBonge. LA Harbor Film Festival will feature a real-time webinar, a nostalgic tribute to the classic film Phantom of the Opera, and a reading of the time-honored novel Pollyanna. This year, the festival theme is Surfing the Cinematic Bridge. For more information on the programs and screening schedule, visit laharborfilmfest.com. And that's a look at some virtual things to do.
That's it for this edition. I'm Natalia Bilbao, and from all of us here at LA This Week, thank you so much for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org, and we're also on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. See you next time for more LA This Week.